Why do we keep seeing these stories? Why do we keep seeing stories about school administrators, school officials, educators that are in charge of ensuring the safety of our children? We see them being arrested. In this case, Wisconsin Dells middle school counselor arrested for that. You can read that headline. Now, you have to excuse the voice and the sniffles. I'm still getting over a sickness, but I wanted to share this video, so let's talk about why this keeps happening. Some of you that have followed me for a while may remember when I was posting stories about this several months ago at this point, but my very own daughter, my daughter in her school district where we live, she was the target of a teacher there. Now that teacher was ultimately allowed to resign. More about that in a second. But I was talking about this. I said story time coming, but for now, just know a public school system has one less teacher on staff, and it's great news for our daughters. It's great news for our daughters where I live, but not somewhere else. I also shared this a little bit further on the story that at my daughter's high school, there was a teacher there who was grooming not only my daughter, but other underage girls. And our story that we had to go through to make sure that he was held accountable, multiple investigations, we had to stay on top of the school system, and ultimately he was allowed to resign. He was not fired. And apparently his record does not reflect any of this. And now he's been hired at a school just down the road in Kenosha. This school right here, he's been hired. Now, I blacked out his name for now, because I'm still trying to respect the entire process, even though I think the process is over as far as we're concerned, because he's moved on, he's been rehired. But the fact that his record does not reflect that investigation, does not reflect the reason why he ultimately resigned, and does not reflect what he was doing to girls at the high school that he used to work at before going here, just blows my mind that his record is clean and he's allowed to move on. Now, I did this morning send an email. I just found out that he was rehired and he works at the school, so I sent an email to the principal. I said, hey, my name is Ken. My daughter is a student at where she is, and that this teacher used to be a teacher, and I'm curious if he knew why he made the decision to resign as a math intervention teacher from my daughter's high school. I want to know if the principal knows. Now, from this time last year until now, I have submitted multiple record requests trying to figure out what is in this teacher's record. And when I tell you that his record is clean and he was simply allowed to resign and move on and be hired by a new school district, that's exactly what happened. His record is squeaky clean. No trace of anything that happened in this investigation. No trace of anything that he was doing to my daughter and other students. And this is why these stories keep popping up. So parents, talk to your kids. Make sure that your kids understand the way that these teachers, these grown men and women, are able to try to manipulate them and groom them into what could have possibly been worse down the road, and could possibly still, because this guy is still teaching in a school district. Make sure your kids understand how to protect themselves, how to avoid being targets of teachers like this, and make sure that they're not afraid to report any type of grooming, anything like this, like my daughter did. She saved not only herself, but many other girls that he was doing this to and possibly could have done this to down the road. But unfortunately, he's been allowed to move on to another school district. These stories keep popping up because these teachers are not actually held accountable. They're allowed to just resign and move on. The way that I had to fight this school district to even investigate this was so sad. I don't even know what else to say. I am pissed off that he's hired by a new school district. But parents, talk to your kids, make sure that they understand and make sure that they are protected.